That's why we make the doing easier.
Walk into a Home Depot today and you'll notice something strange. The lights are bright, the shelves are stocked, and the orange aprons are moving. But the energy feels different. It's quieter, slower, almost like the store is waiting for customers who never show up. That quiet isn't because Home Depot collapsed. Not at all. They just released their 2024 full-year results. $159.5 billion in net sales, up 4.5% from 2023. So on the surface, everything still works. But when you dig deeper, you realize something else changed. Some Americans stopped renovating. They stopped building. They stopped investing in their homes like they used to. And for a company built on the promise of "you can fix anything," that's a shift more dangerous than any downward slide on a graph.
What are the headwinds right now for this company, and do you expect them to last through the rest of this year?
Sure. So we do think that the environment for the consumer is going to remain challenging through a lot of this year. One of the things that's unique to the home improvement market is that we're still battling a massive pull forward in demand during the pandemic.
This seems like a silent retreat for your favorite store, and it might tell us more about America today than home improvement. Back in 1978, Home Depot opened its first warehouse. The idea was radical. Give everyday people access to professional-grade materials, tools, and supplies. Make it affordable. Make it accessible. Make it possible that with a weekend, some guts, and a little know-how, you could fix your roof, build a deck, or paint a dream kitchen. For decades, that idea resonated. Suburbs expanded, homeownership rose, families bought houses, and saw their walls and floors not just as real estate, but as canvases. Home Depot became more than a retailer. It became a symbol of possibility, a Saturday morning ritual, a sign you had your life together. By the 2000s and even 2010s, DIY culture was deeply embedded. Social media tutorials, home improvement blogs, weekend warrior videos, they all fed into the same belief. A casting call for hope. You didn't need a pro. You just needed ambition and a Home Depot receipt. When the pandemic hit, that belief exploded. Stuck at home with bare walls and empty weekends, millions of Americans turned despair into action. Sales soared. Lumber, paint, fixtures, anything you could use to patch, fix, transform, flew off the shelves. Home improvement became therapy. Between 2017 and 2019, homeowners spent approximately $522 billion on home improvement projects. Projects rose in value. DIY rose in popularity. Home Depot wasn't just a store, it was hope being hammered on, nailed in, and painted. For a long while, it worked perfectly. Homeowners felt empowered. Suburbs got facelifts. The American house wasn't just a shelter anymore. It was identity. And Home Depot was the workshop of that identity. For Home Depot, the pandemic was like throwing gasoline on a fire that was already burning bright. When the world shut down, two things happened at the same time. People were stuck inside, staring at problems they could no longer ignore, and stimulus checks hit bank accounts. That combination created one of the fastest surges in home improvement demand the industry had ever seen. The numbers were wild. In 2020 and 2021, Americans spent more on home improvement than any period in modern history. By 2022, annual spending peaked at roughly $567 billion, according to Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies. Big projects were everywhere. Decks, flooring, full kitchen gut jobs. Even people who never cared about DIY suddenly became weekend contractors. Home Depot rode the wave. Revenue in 2021 hit $151 billion. In 2022, it climbed even higher. Every quarter was a record. If you walked into any store during that time, it felt like a construction supply convoy had raided the aisles. Contractors, new homeowners, retirees, even teenagers doing TikTok room makeovers were fighting over the last gallon of white paint. But the problem with booms is simple. Booms end. And when they end, they reveal the cracks that were there the whole time. For Home Depot, the first signs appeared quietly. In 2023, sales began flattening. Not collapsing, but no longer surging. In 2024, the company reported U.S. comparable sales down 1.8%, a meaningful drop because comparable sales measure the health of stores that have been open for at least a year. In this business, comps don't fall unless consumer behavior shifts, and it was shifting fast. The price of lumber fell from its pandemic peak. Mortgage rates shot past 7%, which froze housing turnover. Fewer people moved, fewer people renovated, and fewer people took on big projects. Home Depot's CEO said it plainly in 2024 and 2025 earnings calls. Demand for large projects has become muted, and customers are sticking to small, necessary repairs. This wasn't just economic pressure. It was psychological. The home renovation fever dream faded. People were tired, overextended, and less optimistic about pouring money into renovations that no longer felt urgent. Home Depot's boom didn't collapse. It simply hit reality. And that reality was a homeowner base that had gone from "let's build something big" to "let's just fix what's broken." As the renovation wave cooled, Home Depot assumed consumers would eventually return to normal patterns. Maybe not full remodels, but steady spending. After all, homes still age, things still break, families still grow. The logic made sense until it didn't. Because something deeper happened in America. People didn't just slow down on spending. They changed how they thought about spending. The first shift was emotional. After 2 years of non-stop renovations, homeowners felt tapped out. They had repainted, reorganized, installed, replaced, upgraded. There wasn't much left to fix. And the projects that were left, they were expensive, big, stressful. Most families weren't in the mood to take them on. The second shift was financial. Mortgage rates stayed high enough to trap people in their homes. If you locked in a 3% mortgage in 2020, you weren't selling. You weren't buying a new place. You weren't starting fresh. And when people stop moving, the renovation cycle slows down. It's not complicated. New homeowners renovate because they want to make a place feel like theirs. Long-term owners renovate only when they have to. Home Depot saw this clearly. Customers weren't dream shopping anymore. They were triaging. Fix the broken faucet. Replace the worn-out door handle. Patch the drywall. Nothing more. The third shift was cultural. Social media moved on from DIY culture. The era of "let me show you my entire house transformation" gave way to quick hacks, renter-friendly upgrades, and minimalism. People weren't looking for massive before and after makeovers. They wanted small wins. Home Depot could serve that, but it's not the same revenue. A Dweller organizer isn't a $12,000 basement remodel. Then came the rise of "do it for me." Younger homeowners increasingly preferred paying professionals. Even for simple tasks older generations handled themselves. Hanging shelves, installing blinds, even painting. The mindset shifted from "I can do it" to "I don't want to do it." So Home Depot found itself in an unfamiliar position. The company that spent decades empowering people to build suddenly faced a generation that didn't want to build at all. This wasn't a crash. It was a quiet reshaping of American habits. And Home Depot's entire identity, the big warehouse, the endless aisles, the idea that DIY is empowering, was built on the old behavior. Home Depot is not collapsing, but it is slowing down in a way the company hasn't felt since the 2008 housing crisis. Revenue that once soared past $157 billion has flattened. So Home Depot is not dying, it's adjusting. And for a company that spent a decade in unstoppable growth mode, this slowdown is the real test of whether it can reinvent itself before the market changes again.